Welcome to another exciting edition of Tribes and Culture. Before we continue, I'd like to ask that you please subscribe to my channel. What you have noticed is that there are foods that are generally eaten by all tribes in Nigeria, and there are foods that are particular to each tribe. Today we'll be talking about foods that are eaten in the Esan culture. And the first food we'll be talking about is Ikpakpa. Ikpakpa is a type of beans. It has deep purple color. It requires long hours of cooking before it's finally ready to be eaten. And while cooking ikpakpa, you have to filter out the water at intervals, because if you allow it to cook continuously with the same water, it's going to come out bitter and it's toxic to the system. So that's why the water has to be changed, be filtered off, fresh water poured in till it's finally ready to be eaten. And once it's tender, you can add salt, peppers, onions, crayfish, and every other thing you want to season it with, and then it's ready to be eaten. The second beans we'll be talking about is ihehe. Ihehe is another type of beans, although it doesn't require such long hours like the ikpakpa. And you don't need to change water at intervals. You don't need to filter off water at intervals. You are allowed to just cook. When the water is dry and it's not tender, you add more water until it's tender. Then you season to taste. Then a soup we want to talk about, a soup that is particular to the Esan culture we'll be talking about, is garden egg soup. It's what you call eggplant. We call it garden egg soup. This soup, these eggplants are usually sourced from the market or obtained from the gardens. You boil until it's tender, and then you crush it, you mash it, and then you put water in the pot, bring to boil. You add salt, peppers, crayfish, made fish, or whichever you want to use, and then you allow to boil before you add the crushed eggplant into the soup. Allow to boil, season to taste. Then, unlike in the Western cultures where soups are eaten on their own, they are eaten as main meal, complete meal on their own. In Nigeria, in the Esan culture, soups are not eaten on their own. They are usually eaten with ema. So what people generally call fufu, what people outside call fufu, in Esan culture, in the Esan tribe, we call it ema. So soups are eaten with ema. The only soup that is eaten on its own is pepper soup. And pepper soup is prepared using the offals of animals. Animals such as cattle, sheep, goats. The intestines, the stomach, yes, they are used to prepare pepper soup. And pepper soups are usually cooked with these offals. Then you add scent leaf, you add the spices that are usually reserved for pepper soup. And then it's only pepper soup that's eaten on its own in the Esan culture and Nigeria at large. So as time go by, we are going to be bringing other tribes, yes, to tell us things that are obtained in their culture, things that are particular to their cultures. So thanks for viewing. Thank you for viewing.